Hey everybody, this is Mr. Rivera with another CSS tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about how to modify your text on your web page. So last time I gave a tutorial about how to link your CSS file to your HTML files, and I kind of guided you through the basics of what CSS is and the syntax, how to write it out. So if you forgot or you need a refresher, go ahead and go back to that other video with CSS basics to kind of recap and remember how to write your rule sets. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, we have here a rule set for our H1 tag. So right now, as I go through this tutorial, I'm going to be modifying this title right here. Okay, so the very first thing that you could do, and it's one of the easiest things, and the thing that students usually ask for first, is how do I color my font? So we're going to go ahead and color it by using the property color. All right, so you write color, and then you put colon, and you could pick any color. So you could actually write out a specific color. You could do blue, red, and there's a variety of colors that you could choose from. And later on in a future tutorial, you're going to learn two other techniques to use for color. You could use an RGB value, such as that, or you could use a hexadecimal value, such as, let's see if I could do this. There you go. So, and I'll have another tutorial on how that actually works, but just know that to color your font or to color your text, you go ahead and use the property color. So aside from color, you could also change the font size. So if I do font size, it's pretty simple. It's what the name implies, font size. And you're going to write a number, and px, which stands for pixels. Every single little dot on your screen is a pixel. So here we're saying light up 20 of those little dots, and that's how big your font's going to be. You can make it ginormous if you want. You can do something like 200, but of course you probably wouldn't want to do that for your website. It's way too big for your audience. So you can mess around with those numbers until you find something that you like. Okay, so that's font size. And let's try something else. So the next thing we do have is font family. And this one's a little tricky. You do have a variety of font families that you could pick from. And I am going to put another tutorial how to kind of bring in custom fonts, especially using something like Google Fonts. But for right now, these are the selections that you have. Kind of going through your code.org lessons, this is what it's going to teach you. So you do have options like cursive, fantasy, monospace, sans serif, and serif. So if we go ahead and do those, you could see over here how it changes. So you have cursive, sans, serif. And by the way, serif stands for those little embellishments. So it's kind of like little decorations at the end. So sans means without. So this is without the decorations at the tip of your letters. Let me show you what serif looks like. And it's a little bit more decorative. Maybe if I actually font size, I'm going to exaggerate this so you can see it. It is these little kind of tags at the end that make it very decorative. Like right here at the R, how this little thing juts out right here, and on the W. So that's serif. And if you do sans, that means without. So without serifs, it kind of chops it off. It makes it more blocky. So that's sans serif. And then, there you go. And then you have mono space. And you have fantasy. Okay, so your web browser kind of already is programmed to figure out what font correlates with those values. So it'll kind of choose the font for you. And if there's a specific font you want, one of the things that I learned how to do is to use Google Fonts. And like I said, later on, I'll get into another tutorial specifically for those types of fonts. Okay. And then we have another thing called text decoration. So text decoration gives you different lines. So you have things such as line through. So that draws a line right through your text. You have overline, which draws a line on top. And you have underline, which draws a line on the bottom. So there's some other things. I know some students have asked, how do I underline my title? Like I want my title underlined and I want it bold. So this is one way to do that. And the last thing we're going to look at is text align. It's another request that I usually have is how do I align my text to the center? Well, here you go. text align center. All right, and you could also do left, which is usually the default, so you wouldn't see any change there, or right as well. Okay. So again, these are the quick things that you could do to modify your text on your website. These are the things that were covered by code.org. There's going to be a couple of other ones that I'm going to go ahead and introduce in other tutorials, like additional things that you could do, some really cool tricks that you could do with your font. But again, get these basics down before you actually try anything new or experimental, okay? So I hope you guys enjoy. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me in class, and I'll see you guys next time.